This is Sifu Angelo Ferrer, coming out of Kajukenbo, Japan, Level Up Gym. Doing a fight analysis here of my last grappling match in Osaka, Japan. The fight starts off and my opponent immediately grabs me and tries to get inside. This is a grappling match and I was able to get the inside control under his armpits, which is a really essential thing to do when you're doing no-gi grappling, because there's nothing to hold on to. You really want to get those underhooks in to be able to get any control that you may want done. From there I end up executing some pretty good side control here. He's trying to squirm out. It's a little bit tough to try to get a good handle of the situation in a ring because, as you can see, there's giant gaps. Right now I really wanted to stick my legs out to sprawl just a little bit more to get a little more weight on him, but I couldn't, so I had to reposition him back into the corner, which is what I was trying to do. Circle him back into the corner so that I can have that leverage that I wanted. I really wanted to get that either Americana or Kimura. I was working on the Americana several times in practice at the Gracie Barra studio in Kakogawa, Japan. Unfortunately, he did know what I wanted to do, and I was thinking of switching positions, but it really wasn't going to work out. So again, I was trying to get that Americana. I was trying to force it in. Things are looking pretty promising here. He's still trying to squirm out, and I don't have the angle that I need to be able to finish the submission. So at this point, I was trying to wait him out to see if I can tire him out to get to that point where I can get the leverage again. I did lose my grip and I lost my hold at this point. So again, maintaining control, making sure I maintain side control, keeping my weight balanced over his chest, and coming back over, trying to get it in slowly. One of the rules that they had, since this was in an amateur MMA setting, was we were not allowed to crank the submissions. This is a Class C match. Class B allows striking, and Class A is a full-on MMA match. And I was not allowed to crank the submission, which made it a little bit tough. I didn't want to crank it, I wanted to use control. And he almost squirmed out of it right there. At this point, I start going for it, and I'm really afraid that he's going to end up breaking his arm. And he was really resilient in not tapping when I did start putting some force there. So again, trying to maintain that control. He's straightening out his arm. He's doing a great job of not letting me get his arm and shoulder in the position over his head the way I would like it to be in order to finish off the submission. He slips out once again. At this point I start to get tired and time is running out. He's only got 10 seconds left on that clock. He's trying to ride that clock as much as he can. I go for a full mount for some extra points and they stand us back up. So the fight is set to be a 2-round match unless it goes into overtime because of a decision. We immediately start off. I try to clinch by grabbing his head, which was a mistake because it opened me up for him to get his underhooks on me right here. He is from a catch wrestling background. If you don't know what catch wrestling is, I do suggest you look it up. It is a very formidable style of grappling out here in Japan. Very similar to no-gi Jiu Jitsu, but very different in some ways, where it only specializes in grappling without a gi. So again, I'm trying to get my control again, because he does have his right arm deep under my armpit, as you can see. He's got that underhook really good, and he's trying to get that left one, which I was trying to avoid, and eventually he got me right there, getting both of his underhooks, putting me down onto the ground. At that point I knew it was coming, so I decided to go into my closed guard to avoid any more problems. He's trying to escape, I'm pushing him off. The referee's kind of blocking the camera, sorry about that. And again, he's trying to get outside, so I get one of the hooks into one of his legs. That way he cannot find a way to get around me. I don't want him to escape at this point. He's already gotten some favor. I mentioned earlier there was points, and I made a mistake. There actually isn't points in this. It's all based on the judges. And the judges, many of them come from an MMA or a catch wrestling background, which does change things a little bit. They do know Jiu Jitsu, and some of them have competed in Jiu Jitsu tournaments, but this particular venue is not giving points as in the standard way of the way Jiu Jitsu does it. They're looking more at dominance and who is controlling the top. And in this case, my opponent is definitely controlling the top. He's trying to bring him in, trying to keep him controlled. I'm still trying to keep in mind that I'm looking at this match as a practice session for an actual MMA match. I was signed up for one, but they didn't have an opponent, so I decided to do a grappling match this day so I wouldn't waste any of my training. He starts trying to dig in his elbows. I keep in my closed guard. I have his arm at this point, and I'm trying to see if I can maybe get into some sort of more, but he does find a way to escape. As he's escaping through, he finally gets his leg out and is now initiating side control. At this point, I'm thinking I do not want him to get full mount. This will only give him even more leverage as far as how the judges are seeing him gain control and dominate in that position. He's controlling my head. He's doing a pretty good job of that, but I'm keeping him close to my body. I bring my left leg up and keep my knee out to make sure that he cannot pass my guard and end up in full mount. I'm still trying to keep in mind that I am practicing for MMA. Even though we're not striking, I do want to keep him close to my body. I don't want to let him get too far, even in a grappling situation. I don't want to give him too much leverage to be able to pull anything else off. I hook one of his legs in, and I managed to get him into half guard, and that wraps up the second round. So as we walk off, it's time for the judges to come up with their judgment and find out whether or not they felt I was the winner. The judges come to a no decision. This puts us into our bonus third round. We come in. I always try to make sure to show courtesy to my opponent by bumping fists. Pick that up from some of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys I work with. He immediately comes in, puts a lot of pressure, puts me up on the ropes. I'm trying to save up some energy to get ready to figure out what I want to do. I'm holding on to his arms to keep him from being able to control like he did in the second round for those underhooks to take me down to the ground. As I'm trying to kind of figure out how much leverage he has, how much strength he has. I know he must be tired from trying to keep the top the whole time in the second round, and I also know that I have to dominate on the top on this third round if I expect to win, because right now we are tied. He was given the second round, I was given the first. I swoop for the single leg. I have a good hold of his leg, turn, balance, take him down. Now that he's on the ground, I do keep him down. I miss my opportunity to pass his guard. He tries to get me in a headlock, but he fails. So again, I'm posting up, trying to keep the arm out, keep my body on top of him. He's trying to keep me close in. I'm trying to keep control. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself that I may be too tired to actually finish with a submission. We're deep into the third round, and I'm not sure if I really tired myself out in that first round trying to execute a submission. So my strategy at this point is to keep him on his back. I know that since we're in a grappling match, they're not going to stand us back up. So I figure keeping him on his back might be my best shot at winning. And I also want to tire him out some more. There's a saying in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they say, simmer the beans. You keep someone in a position, and once you've simmered him, tired him out, then you figure out what you're going to do in the next spot. So I'm really going for the position before submission, and I'm waiting to see if a submission presents itself. Right here, he tears my LCL, and I end up with a knee injury. Luckily, it's only a stage 1. I find out later when I go to the doctor, but I do know I'm injured, and I do know I cannot stand up anymore. My right knee is done. I'm starting to feel the pain, but luckily, the endorphins are kicking in, and the adrenaline is keeping some of that pain at bay. But I am having some problems right now. So I figure that locking him in and making sure he doesn't escape is my best bet. I start pushing back. I so far passed one of his legs, keep his single leg hooked in, and my plan at this point is just to stay in one position to hopefully not injure my leg any more than it already has been injured. He starts trying to come up and bridge. He's trying to get me bridged right here. I get in trouble right here for grabbing onto the rope, as you can see in the corner there. That is not allowed, and I am deducted. I don't know if they have a point system, but I was given a warning for that and told if I was to do it again that they would stand us back up. At this point, I start working my way around, and I get into full mount, and I figure that holding full mount, if I can hold full mount for the rest of this round, then that's my best shot at winning. And sure enough, I do pull it off. As you can see, I'm limping. I did end up with two ligaments that ended up sprained from this match, and it took me a long time to recover from that. But I did win, and sometimes those are the sacrifices you have to make in order to get what you want. If you really want that piece of plastic or that trophy or that plaque or that win, or if you really want to be the one with your arm raised at the end of that match, that was in the red corner, you see the red flags up, then you have to be able to sacrifice, or willing to sacrifice. Well, thank you very much. Again, Sifu Angelo Ferrer from the Kajukenbo Hyogo Japan Level Up Gym Fight Club out here. If you want to see any more of these videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Train your mind, body, and spirit every day.